I couldn't hear.
Oh, okay. We're live.
Oh,
Hi, Mum.
hello, son.
You've done interviews before, a few times, but I don't suppose you ever expected to be being interviewed by your son.
No, I didn't. I had a few interviews before, yes.
Where were they at?
That was in Turkey, where I lived for 26 years.
Yeah, that's a very long time to be living in a foreign country. You built one of the first hotels in the village there.
We were the third to open,
Oh, right, okay.
and it's in Cappadocia, in the very centre of Turkey. And yeah, I was the first foreign woman to settle there. I was also the first woman in the village to work.
To work?
To work outside the home, yeah.
Oh my God,
And
that's... Do you know if that's still carrying on, that tradition of...
It is, it's wonderful. When I did start working, I didn't actually notice I was the first one. And I know I was watched just to see if everything came tumbling down, to see if the family got a bad name. And it didn't. And then very slowly over the years, other women started working. And they'd be maybe in their relatives' hotels, pensions, and they'd be doing cleaning. But slowly the women got stronger, which was absolutely wonderful to see, and they started making their own businesses.
Oh my God. That's incredible. You started this wave, in a way, without you arriving there. There's a possibility that the women may not have started working till much, much later, or if ever.
I think they would have eventually, but yeah, I did kickstart it. Yeah, which is absolutely wonderful to see the difference, because women had no power over money there. They had no income. It was always the men that had complete control over it. And to watch these amazing women, because they've been brought up in this tiny village, and to watch them flourish like this and be very good at their businesses, it was, incredible. I'm so fortunate to have experienced that, to watch it.
You are, for sure. It's a part of history that you very rarely get to see, such a huge change like that, where people that were previously known for being able to cook, or women to cook, wash clothes, just general house duties, are now able to make their parents proud by really going out there and building these gorgeous businesses.
Just wonderful to watch. I say, and now it's commonplace for women to work all through the village, whether it's in cafes or selling jewellery at their own stalls. One of them I know, her husband always had a shop and it changed into a cafe, and he backed off, and she's just taken it over, and she's very, very good at what she does. She would hardly come out of her house before. Very religious lady, Fatma. And now she's on the main street serving meals to tourists, learning English, running the whole place. Wonderful.
Oh my God. Do I know Fatma?
You do. Market's wife.
Oh God, I can't.
Ali Jingatash.
There are so many names, I can't remember them all.
Yeah,
I need
you
to
do
see
know
their
them.
face. Yeah, if I saw their face, I'd recognise them.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful that it brings confidence, like you said before. It really does.
Yeah, they were totally powerless before. And if it was still all arranged marriages at that time. And if a woman wanted to get out of her marriage, she couldn't support herself. But now she can. She's got that strength, the possibility.
Yeah, that's it. It's the possibility, like, if they want to stay and they enjoy the home duties, that's great. But the fact that they can, if they want,
yes,
to be free.
Yeah. Because before, what would happen, that would have to be pretty bad for a woman to want to leave. If there was violence, she would go back to her parents, and quite often the parents would say, you can't dirty the family name like this, you've got to go back. They had no freedom.
It's not even allowed, even if the husband is abusive.
No.
Was divorce a thing back then? That wouldn't be seen.
I know someone who did get divorced. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it went on and off, and it was a violent, abusive relationship. But it was when he got the gun out.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a very understandable place to go, no, I don't want to live with you.
And then she had the total support of the family.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant, yeah. Oh, so families did step in and support if it got too far?
Yes, yeah. That was quite an extreme case. That was. But,
totally. But she's okay now, she's free.
Yes-ish. She went through quite a long time of not being free because she had 2 elder brothers. And because she was a divorced woman, they'd have this... They'd almost think that she was desperate to find a man, so they had to look after her honour. So she wasn't actually free to wander around the village how she wanted. The brothers were always watching. And if they heard that she was walking around too much, making herself seen too much, they would...
Walking around too much?
Yes. Oh, yeah. When I was there at first, what happened in the evenings is families would go to visit each other. Normally groups of women would go to another house. The men go to the tea house. And if you were going to somebody's house, you don't go through the centre of the village because you might be spotted by men sitting at the cafe.
What, spotted as in like in a perverse way? Like they'll look at you and... No,
just seen that you're out. You're walking around. And that was, they had this word, aip, which means shameful.
Yeah.
And especially if you're divorced.
Especially, I would have thought it would be the other way around, that if you're still in the relationship in that culture, that walking around...
I know, because you have a husband to look after you and make sure, But if you're single...
you in your place.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you're single. So they would go... Because I went a few times, and they'd go all around the back streets to avoid walking anywhere near the centre of the village, because it would be shameful to be seen. And they would not normally go on their own either. There's no sort of just going out for a walk. You had to be going somewhere, whether it was to get some water or... They didn't go to the shops. The men would bring things back from the shops.
Because it would be shameful.
Yeah, well, you'd be speaking to a man in the shop. Yeah.
About the purchase that you're making. But
yeah.
if someone spotted you through the shop window talking to this man... That's not on.
That's not on.
Oh my God.
Older ladies, crones, they were exempt from this, really.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was okay. It has changed now because you have women running shops.
Yeah.
So there's a huge change. I was there from 1983 till 2010. Lived there from 84. So, and the change is just incredible. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. I'm very privileged to have seen it. Yeah.
You are 100%. Like you said, you watched this part of history happen.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And people nowadays, they can totally free wander around. Do you know if that still happens at all, of the shameful sort of culture? Or?
They're a lot freer. But there are some families, some of them are ultra-religious. Someone I know, she was going to meet up with her old school friends, and they're all aged about 35. And they'd planned to maybe go to a cafe or a restaurant, sit outside. But one of the girls, her husband, didn't let her go out of the family yard area. So everyone just accepted this as normal and went round to her house. But there was no slagging off or saying, how can you let your husband control you like this? It's just was accepted as being a normal thing to do.
Right.
And there were no men going to be in this group. It was all women. I think there were about 8 or 9 of them. Grown up with children.
Yeah. It's just the idea that she's out there.
Yeah.
Something could happen.
Yeah. It's what I find worst about it was the attitude of the girls, that this was just normal, was even worse than the husband saying, no, you can't go out.
Yeah, that's true. It's just sort of put your hands up with a white flag and said, all right, you're my boss.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's really the norm anymore, luckily.
Definitely, yeah. Can you imagine nowadays? It still happens in some parts of the world, I think, but it's spreading this...
Yeah, it does.
Possibly through technology, I suppose, through our phones and being able to spread information. Like if a woman has a phone and can see all these other women across the world dressing how they want, and then they'll realize, oh, maybe it isn't so bad. Whereas 30 years ago, it would have just been dressing however they saw around them, with the very covered up, and they wouldn't have had this outside view through the social media. Well,
they had the outside view on television, you know, like series. What do you call them? I can't remember the word in English. Dizzy.
Television series?
Yeah. And there'd be families in Istanbul, in the cities, on the beach, and they wouldn't be covered up, and they'd drink and they'd go out. But the village women just saw this as a separate world. It was nothing to do with them.
Oh, God.
It was, so it might as well have been America but they didn't associate themselves with it. I think the change happened in my village because of tourism. And I think I did have a part in that, with the family name not being blackened just because I was working. And tourists coming through, especially in the earlier days, they were backpackers who respected the local culture. You know, they weren't just on a quick tour. And people watched these tourists and watched how they interacted. And I think at that time, the people in the village thought that all tourists were very well educated and knew what they were doing, and they were all good, decent people. There was this,
which was the case usually, I suppose.
It was at that time, because they were thinking tourists. You know, these were people who would travel all the way to India. Real travellers, not the people that just take a 2-week holiday and
then go back to normal suburban life. It's people that are experienced. They take books with them, and when they arrive at the place, they'll swap the books, and
they're sensitive to the local culture. Now later on, it changed. Now girls were in very short shorts, and that didn't happen before. People used to be so sensitive; they'd look around and see that the women were covered from, you know, all they had was their eyes showing, and they'd be respectful. But then it changed. I remember one girl staying with me. She had very short shorts on and buttocks hanging out. And I said, look, if you're going into the village, it might be best if you cover up just a little. And she was furious with me. She said, don't you dare tell me what I can wear. I will wear what I want, when I want, where I want. And I said, okay. But it's so disrespectful to walk around
totally.
A village where all the women are covered up. You know, the men don't find it attractive. They find it disgusting. It's too much.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And to the women as well that feel that they have to be covered up, it's a total shock that, like, how can she disrespect herself like that?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, because the women, they'd always have long sleeves and something down to their ankles. And later on, I wore longish shorts and short sleeve t-shirts, but I used to cover my arms and legs. And then you get people with the, you know, midriff and buttocks showing.
Yeah. No consideration.
No
whatsoever.
No, and it gives us a bad name, unfortunately.
It does, as a tourist, as a European, it gives you a bad name.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Because Turkish girls in the village do not sleep around.
It doesn't happen. You a one night stand, it doesn't exist, or it's very, very
very rare. And if the family found out, if it was a local boy, they would
kill him.
It has happened.
Really?
Or,
no.
That sort of thing. Yeah, honor killings, or they would force the boy to marry the girl.
Well, because they've already done that, it would...
Yes, you've taken the girl's virginity, and that means she's unmarriable.
So you have to take that place. Christ. Was alcohol a prominent thing back then? Like if you make a mistake on a drunk night out sort of thing, and then you're married?
Women didn't drink. They still don't. They're very religious. It was more of a social thing than the new Islamic thing, and it was just not part of their world. The men drank. Wine, raki, beer.
Yeah.
Not all of the men, but it was considered normal for men to drink.
Yeah, because they're the bosses; they can do what they want. Sort of ideology.
Not all, but yeah. But the thought of a woman drinking, I would never go into town and drink at a bar or a cafe outside. No.
Is that just because you're respecting the culture, or?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I was. The word gelin means bride, but gel means come in Turkish, and I sort of belonged to the village almost. I was their gelin.
The bride of the village?
Well, the foreign one.
Right, yes. Everyone knew.
Everyone knew me. And, yeah, it would be disrespectful, and I didn't want people to think badly of me.
Definitely. Yeah. And if they thought badly of you, they'd think badly of other travellers, and when they came in, there would be a stamp in their memory. Yeah.
Also, I might sometimes have at my own place, I might have a beer for lunch, not for lunch, with lunch. Yeah. But Turkish guys would see me and they'd think, oh my God, she's going to be really drunk by the evening. Because I could have one, but they would see drink alcohol for using to get drunk, not as a refreshing beverage. It's a different way of looking at it. That's the only reason to drink, is to get wrecked.
Right. There was never... that it wouldn't be common for a man to sit down with dinner at home and have an alcoholic beverage.
No.
If he did that would be extremely shameful. Or
well, the family wouldn't alcohol wasn't in the family life. It was something that the men might go out somewhere to a bar or light a fire outside and have a barbecue.
And even then, they're not drinking because it's tasty and it's refreshing. It's you're at the barbecue, you're getting drunk. Yeah. You're having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Which often went wrong, but
oh, really?
It was good at the start, I suppose. Yeah.
God. There must be, you must have so many crazy stories of the village, the crazy events that took place. Are there any that stick out to you when you think of village craziness?
There's so many crazy times.
True.
Try and think of some that aren't to do with alcohol, I suppose.
Of course. It's by the way, the village that we're talking about is Göreme, Goreme, in Cappadocia, in Turkey.
I'm trying to think,
There's a few stories of me doing stupid stuff.
You?
Climbing on roofs. And
yes. Yes, you were a little wild.
A little
wild. Well, there's only 2,000 people living in the village, so everyone knows each other, but especially our family, quite well respected in the village. But little blonde Ali came along. He used to go walkabout when I was serving dinner to the tourists. This little 3-year-old blonde thing would just go out the door. Look, Mum's busy. And I used to get phone calls from friends. Remember Ekrem called once saying, Ali's at the shop, don't worry. Cross the main road. He just used to go out and get lost all over the place. Well, not get lost, but wander around when he had the chance.
Just freedom. Why not? Bored now, bored of the computer. I'm off for a walk.
Yeah, yes. And the time walking on the roof, she said, I couldn't find him. And I like to have him in sight
Mm.
because of the slight ADHD tendencies.
Yep.
So I went upstairs to look at the big dormitory on the roof, and there was a bit of a commotion. All the tourists in there. It's a great big wooden room with windows all the way round. And the tourists, about 15 of them, were looking out of the window. And I thought, Ali's on the outside, sort of going around a 3-floor building. Nothing to stop him falling all the way to the bottom. Yeah.
I remember seeing it like an objective. Like, there's the roof there. I bet not many people have gone up there.
Well, not
I'll
round the
try.
outside of the glass, no.
Oh. I remember one time you were telling me there was a tour group as well, and you'd established this excellent reputation, like as a charismatic, like business sort of person, or like a well hotel owner. You're walking them back from the bus stop. You're telling them about the village, having great fun conversation back and forth.
I'm scared.
And you turn the corner, and then you look up at or you look at the hotel, and maybe I don't know if it was one of the tourists that pointed it out or you saw, but there's me walking along the roof, and that whole reputation of this woman that has herself together and knows what she's doing. Just suddenly her son's on the roof like shit in the village.
I think, I went up and I saw you on the roof, but I remember there was something because we had the balconies and a wall between them, and you were going from balcony to balcony.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was that. Yes.
That was fun.
Yes.
I could have gone into people's rooms. I could have really done bad.
Yeah. And then there was the building site just over the wall from the garden,
Yeah, that was fun. We actually, a bunch of the kids from the village and I almost started like a little mini army of, what's it called? BB guns.
Yes.
Trying to be like commanders and such, and I actually got thrown out.
It's a half-built 3-story house.
Holes everywhere. One slip and I died.
Yes. I can remember you got stuck on a tree a few times as well. The other neighbours sort of across the road down there was a tree and with a corrugated iron roof.
Oh, Christ.
Do you remember?
I don't.
Layla got stuck up there as well a few times.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to hold it all together. I've got 25 tourists. I'm trying to explain about tours and all the rest of it. And then I look over and start stuck up there again.
The usual insanity.
Yes. It was...
Were other
stop.
kids in the village as crazy? Like, because they... did the children get the same sort of treatment of freedom that the women did, in a way? That they weren't allowed outside. It's dangerous.
They all played on the street. It was fantastic. Just because there wasn't traffic in the area we were really at that time. And more with the girls, Sabine and Layla. They used to go off in the morning, and I didn't see them again till the evening sometimes. And then I'd shout off the balcony. I'd shout, well, Sabina, and then you just hear a kid's voice saying, Sabina's mum's calling her, and somebody else, Sabina's mum calling her, Sabina, your mum's calling you.
Whoa.
Because everyone knew each other. It was lovely.
That's a really real sense of community. That.
Oh, yeah. Yes. All looked after, all known.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which has its good and its bad points.
Oh, really? Well, I can tell the good points, which is the sense of community, the sort of rainbow-esque feel, Rainbow the Gatherings I'm talking about, where one person calls and then you keep the chant going.
Yeah.
But what are the bad sides of the sense of community?
Being a teenager and everyone knows what you've done even before you've done it.
Even before you've done it. You're talking to a boy and they all know that you've slept with him already, or you're planning to.
Oh, yeah, the gossip. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gossip's dreadful.
Because it's almost like a school. Everyone's so tight and close that one thing gets said, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Before you've done it.
Yeah. Yes. I remember one girl, she was lovely, and she's so sweet, but a bit naive. And she went to get to the bus stop to get the bus to the next town. I had a reason for going. And a car stopped, and they asked if she'd like a lift. It was 2 guys. And she said, oh, yeah, thank you. In she popped. They took her to Avanos. Everything was fine, but someone saw her get into the car.
Jesus.
So that was it. She was a
Oh, not Ross, but what is it?
Hur.
A whore. Oh
yeah,
my.
yeah. Well, she obviously slept with the two guys. She had sex with the guys in the car. Is what everyone was saying. Dreadful. Just terrible.
How can you do that? It just takes one person to go, oh, Mum, I just saw, I don't know, I can't think of a Turkish name right now, but this girl getting into the car, and bam.
Yeah, that's
got
it.
into the car. Did you hear this person got into the car? Yeah, it's awful. Bam. They must have slept with them. Oh, they slept with them. Bam.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah.
Chinese whispers around the place.
Yeah, so, yeah.
This
is sounding very negative. There are actually so many wonderful things about living in that village there.
There are, 100%.
Really?
Yeah. It's, compared to like Western, I suppose, civilization, or even any city, it's so tight-knit. The community is beautiful. It really is. It isn't this sort of like Eastern closed-minded place where everyone is very controlled. That it sounds like, I suppose we sounds like we painted it like that a bit.
It was in the early years more.
Okay.
And yeah, the warmth of the people and the beauty of the place. There's something so magical and special about Cappadocia.
No.
I can Google it, and these amazing images come up. It's a very holy place. Between 800s and 1200s, there were Christians, and they carved out churches. There are loads and loads of churches, hundreds of them, with frescoes, paintings on the walls.
A fresco, is that a painting?
Frescoes, they dig out the cave, and then they prepare the wall. They use egg white. It's a sort of plaster they use, and then they paint on top of it. And they still exist. Lots of these churches were found later on, and some of them had perfect paintings, not damaged. Incredible. So there's this feeling, there's a special feeling about the place. You have to go there to feel it.
Yes, you do. When you were talking about it, at first I was viewing it just sort of like a normal, like, sort of ancient cave with these things. And then the more you described it, it gave me the magical feeling, because I felt almost an attachment. There was this one cave with, what was it? It might have been the devil, something like that, painted on one of the roofs. And I just felt, on the ceiling, sorry. And I felt like I wanted to just go there, just back to that one spot. I never actually found it again. Sean took me. And it is a beautiful, magical place. They've got fairy chimneys there as well, which were created with, you've got these hard rocks, and then the volcanic eruptions happened, and the acid rain dissolved all of the soft rock, and the soft rock that was underneath the hard rock stayed there, and it created these penis-like structures all through the valleys.
Yes. Yeah, you must Google it. Yes.
Definitely.
It's wonderful. Yeah, but the light there is incredible as well. It's so much lighter than in the UK. I don't know what it is. It's a different. It sort of glows.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. This is kind of like sharp, like artificial light in a way.
It's just a different light. Yeah, and the weather there. People think Turkey, and it's going to be warm and sunny all the time. In the coldest months, which would be probably January, February, it used to get down to minus 25 centigrade. It was so cold, and on a clear day, the air would just turn to glitter. Yeah, the water in the air was just turning into ice, with the sun shining on it. So beautiful, just like glittery flakes.
I think I remember that. Yes,
I can remember it just from the steps of the pension. Just there, it's just lovely, and so cold. You get used to it, though. I remember one day we were working outside in the garden, just bits and pieces, and I was down to a t-shirt and jeans, and I looked at the temperature, and it was -8, which is quite mild compared to -25. You see.
Yes.
So it doesn't get grey so much like in the UK. It's lovely bright sunshine, and then the summer, of course, it's hot, but as soon as the sun goes down, because of the high altitude, it gets cool again. You sleep outside the whole summer.
You did, yeah. You used to put the beds out onto the balcony
I did.
Something that wouldn't be possible in the UK. In most, even in summer, I suppose it would get too chilly.
Sometimes you get eaten by slugs here, though. Yeah, it's too dry there for slugs.
They'd show up. They'd be a good meal, good snack.
Yeah.
Crispy slug.
No, not my favourite.
No. You also run the business over there, the hotel. Do you have any sort of, because I'm getting a bit more into business now, but not so well. How did you initially start the whole hotel?
We were very lucky. I arrived at the right time and the right place. There were only another couple of hotels at the time. We were the third one to open. My dad gave us a little bit of money to pay for the year's rent and all the beds of the place. And we were very popular, and lots of it was to do with me just knowing what tourists wanted, because I'd been one myself. I hitchhiked around Europe, and I knew what they wanted, and that wasn't to be taken to a carpet shop, or it was just to be looked after and left alone, and food from home sometimes. I could explain about the history, geography of the area in English, which was easy. And I really enjoyed having all the people around. So because I enjoyed it, I did well at it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you got to really connect with all of the tourists that came in.
Oh, yeah. And so this was the time of when the roads to India was open. So, yeah, incredible people. I used to have people that were cycling around the world. A guy in a penny farthing cycling around the world. He didn't quite make it, but he was trying it.
Penny farthing?
Yeah. Nutcase.
Those are some of the best, the nutcases.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, walkers, cyclists, motorbikes, all sorts of incredible people. And we used to serve evening meals. So I used to get everybody together at one table. And there were people all over the world, different religions, different languages, and they'd all sit down and swap their travel stories in the evenings. I used to just sit down and eat with them. It was great. Yeah, really privileged.
Very much so, yeah. It's so lovely thinking back on it, the way you're able to connect with all of those people from all over the world. Such a huge variety.
I'm still in contact with loads of them now, which is great.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. There's one girl came with her family. We had a Christmas there. That must have been 85, I think. And her family just gave up everything and travelled with 3 children. And she was about 11, I think, then. And yeah, we've gone and visited her in France. We keep in contact, which is great. Who else? Oh, Felix from Holland. He's acupuncturist. Still in contact with him.
Brilliant. Have you ever done acupuncture done on you?
I have.
Really?
I have.
I know.
Yes.
I did not actually know that. How have you?
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
What was it for? I can't remember what it was for now. It was a bit odd having it didn't hurt.
Oh.
Yeah, the needle. I prefer not to watch when the needle was going in.
Yeah.
I think it was on my back. Just an odd sort of feeling, and I'm not sure if it really did anything.
Okay, I would have thought it would hurt. That's impressive that it doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah, the needles are so fine.
Right, it's finer than a hospital needle.
Well, for syringe, yes. Oh yeah, much finer.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah. I knew what you meant.
Always helping me out, my mum. Wow. So you didn't feel the connection of the energies at all, any of that?
No, I mean, I believed it could work, so I didn't have barriers up against it or anything. But and I went for a few times, but nothing much seemed to.
Did you feel relaxed with your muscles a bit more?
Possibly, yeah. It's not a miracle cure,
right?
It's like that.
Turkey actually has that. what do? They get I think it's a candle, something like that, and then they put a little cup over it on your back, and then that sucks up the air, makes a vacuum, and it pulls the skin away from the muscle. Is that right? Like gently?
Yes. Yeah, I've seen little videos, but I haven't seen it actually done.
But you haven't had it done to you?
No.
Oh, I saw it actually done to a person, I'm pretty sure, whilst I was in Turkey. I think it was Bushra doing it to her mum or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the old village ways, they're still alive, these sort of things, yeah.
There's a lot of little traditions and clever little gadgets and things that they have in Turkey. That very simple to use. I don't suppose you can remember anymore. Like similar to the muscle pressure release candle.
Not health-wise like that. A teapot, Turkish teapot is very good.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are two teapots. There are always two teapots. So you boil the water in the bottom pot, and you pour it on top of the loose leaf tea, never a tea bag on top. Fill up the water in the bottom again, and the hot water underneath keeps the top warm, and you can dilute your tea. So that's a very useful thing that you don't find in the UK.
Yes, totally. And in the UK we have tea bags, and I suppose we have teapots as well. We put our tea inside, but there's no dilution.
No, it's not the same. You have to have two pots.
Not at all. And it would be a sin in Turkey to put milk in your tea.
Oh, you don't? Oh, no, my goodness. No, never. What a thought.
It's disgraceful.
But you must put loads of sugar in.
Loads of sugar, yeah.
Yes.
Jonas used to put, he still does, like six tubes.
Yeah, the top of the glass, tiny little glasses. Yeah.
This is the coffee, Turkish coffee.
Uh-huh.
I can't quite remember how you make it now. It's like this powder that doesn't dissolve. It's like cocoa powder, coffee powder.
It's very finely ground. Yeah, boil it up with the water until it just comes up to the boil. I think you do it a couple of times, and you have to have froth on top of it when it's in the cup.
You have to have froth on top? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how do you get the froth on top?
By carefully bringing it to the boil a few times, but not overboiling it.
Right. And do not drink it to the very bottom. Don't down it like a shot.
Well, you sip at it. Okay. And then with the coffee grounds, you have to turn your cup upside down onto the saucer. And hopefully there's someone around that can read the coffee grounds. And lots of the old women in Gurma used to do that.
Oh, I didn't actually know that was
still do.
Why they did it.
Yeah. Oh. You've seen them do it, but you don't know why.
No, I've never seen them do it.
Yeah, you just flip it over.
Wow. And what's left on the ashtray is... Oh, not the ashtray.
In the cup.
The saucer. Oh, on the actual exterior of the cup as it's run down.
In the inside of the cup.
Ah. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Oh, did you ever have your coffee red?
Numerous times, yes, but I can't remember what was said about it.
Is it similar to the Chinese takeaway fortune cookies, where it predicts your future?
Oh yeah, it predicts the future, definitely. Yes, they see all sorts of things.
Did you ever find that they were accurate? If you can't remember the content,
I can't remember.
Okay.
No, I can't remember that.
That's cool. Yeah. The fashion in Turkey is also beautiful, and the headscarves as well. Even though they're a sign of dignity, they've also got their own fashion to them now.
Oh yes,
they've got patterns.
Yes, in the village it would be ordinary everyday. Sometimes you might have flowers printed on it. It's a thin muslin cloth, or quite often white, but they had beautiful embroidered or beaded edges to it. And that was the social. It wasn't a religious thing as such. It was more a social, and that's what you wore. As soon as you hit puberty, you were covered. But now, yes, it is a fashion. And in Islam, I believe that women and men are meant to dress modestly. But I'm afraid what you do find is you have the headscarves in bright colours, very bright colours, satin. And there's this shape that the girls do with looks like they have deformed heads sometimes. All their hair's piled up on top.
Oh yeah, the sort of not pointy as such, but it's
it's a strange sort of
dome shape. Yeah, it's like an alien sort of.
Yeah, and their hair is all covered. But as a fashion, they might have a tight T-shirt and tight jeans, but their T-shirt would have long sleeves. Lots of makeup also goes with it. Yeah.
I can remember that look, and I wonder whether that look is that isn't tying in with Islam, surely.
It's not modest. It's bright red and tight jeans and boob shine. No, it's not. It's fashion.
It's totally fashion. But I suppose it must make them feel free, even if they're like, I'm not breaking this barrier up here of the headscarf.
Yeah,
they're allowed to feel sexy, I suppose, in their bodies and confident.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Did men have restrictions as well with their clothing? Do you know?
It's always been very traditional, and you see in older photos the men. It's just like in the UK, really. They'd have their trousers, which with the men was often shalvar, with the crotch down at the knees, sort of thing, and a shirt and a waistcoat and a jacket, quite traditional. And then men didn't really wear shorts, even though it was very, very hot. It would be jeans or the older ones trousers, jeans and t-shirt. Yeah. But a vest and shorts, it would be considered a bit rude.
Yeah.
It's changed now. But
do they go out now? Do you know?
I think some do with shorts. Yeah.
I think in seaside towns, it's often I can just picture Turkish men with their shorts and their vests.
Yes. Oh yeah. Places like Marmaris and Bodrum are very modern.
It's very a status symbol in a way as well. The way that you dress. Do you think all sort of statuses from, I suppose even the poor men had that sort of almost Charlie Chaplin-like look with the trousers and then the shirt, the white shirt on top.
Yes.
Tucked in.
That's it. Yeah.
The belt.
Yeah. And the chain for the watch.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the same as here. I can remember my granddad wearing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The culture that's incredible that the culture managed to adopt the same clothing.
I know, it's odd. Yeah.
Do you know what caused that at all? That's fascinating.
I don't know. Maybe it was influenced by Ataturk.
Oh, very
Could
likely.
have been.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he wanted to drag Turkey into the 20th century. And he banned the fez.
He banned it?
He banned it.
Why did he ban it? Surely it's...
Because he didn't want Turkish people to be seen as looking a bit silly with this funny red hat on. So people started wearing Western-type hats.
That's very good.
Yeah. Ataturk also banned women from wearing religious head coverings if they were working for the government or teachers, nurses. They weren't allowed, which is a bit strict.
That is very strict, yeah. If you're a teacher and you still want to keep that religious modest side to you. I think they're allowed now, surely.
Yes, they are. A few years ago, probably about 20 odd years ago, a friend of mine was a teacher and there were political agitators at the time. She was in Kayseri and teachers had to report girls who were wearing headscarves. Now what would happen be that the girl might not normally wear a headscarf, but the religious party would pay her to go into the class with a headscarf, get reported, and then the newspapers would all get her as she was told to leave. And she'd do interviews saying, I'm a poor village girl, I need to cover my head for my religion. And it wasn't quite like that. Oof. Yeah, clever.
That is very clever. Whoa. Yeah.
But they had something to fight about. But now if it's free for people to wear scarves or not, then you've taken the battle away.
Totally. And that's how it is now. You're allowed whatever.
I think so, yes. There's much more freedom with it.
Yeah. I don't think I was ever taught by a teacher wearing headscarf.
No.
From what I remember.
No, I don't think so at your school.
Yeah. It's
a difficult one.
It is. It's a hard dilemma because you want people to have their freedom, but like if a teacher came into class wearing a headscarf, it might influence one of the children
Yes.
to be a Muslim. And there's nothing wrong with the religion, but to be influenced at a young age, like if you look up to this teacher for being, let's say you're passionate about science and physics and you're like, I want to be just like them, and you see that they're wearing the headscarf, you might be influenced to also think, oh, they're so great at physics because they follow the word of God.
Yes.
And
Yes.
at that
That's the
young-
danger, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I don't know where I stand with the freedom of headscarves.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah, difficult one.
It's very difficult. And I suppose they don't cause harm in a way either.
There's lots of snobbery, but you'll get someone like Marmaris. Educated modern Turkish people, and they'll look down on people with headscarves.
They look down on them.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, which isn't so nice to judge like that. But it represents something that isn't part of their world, and they might still be Muslim, but they feel it as I don't know.
Stuck in the past, almost.
Yeah, as if it's taken something of their freedom away. Maybe they feel.
Which it could be, but I doubt it.
Sometimes the families want their daughters to cover up, but it's not always the case. I met a family, and it was their friend's daughter. They've been brought up very open-minded, bit hippie-ish, just normal, regular people. And the daughter comes home with a headscarf on. And then along comes the boyfriend with a beard, very Islamic, the new Islamic thing. And so it's not always the case of family forcing girls to cover up.
No, it can be partners.
It can be themselves that want to.
Yeah, totally.
They really want to. They feel that's the right way, and they like it. And
there are stories of atheists that have turned religious. Same with this culture, in a way.
Yeah.
Wow. Back to the men's clothing and the fez. Do you think Tommy Cooper?
Yes.
Or fezzes, and do you think that's why it became a bit of a silly thing? Or was it always the fact with Ataturk that he it's just ridiculous. Like, there are these great men's manly, good-looking, fashionable clothes, and then you've got a circular red hat that may not really fit in with the rest of their clothes. Yeah.
And Tommy Cooper was a lot later.
Oh, he was after all that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I don't know the dates. I suppose you know when Ataturk...
He died in, I think it was 1938.
Oh, wow. Okay,
yes,
much later, yeah. Tommy was about 80s, 70s, 80s?
Yeah.
80s.
I can't remember. He was born in Thessaloniki. His mother was... You had this drummed into you at school. Mother was called Zubeda. His father was Ali. So he was born in Thessalonica in, when was it, 1881? I can't remember. Something like that.
I was very distracted and I can't remember much of school.
No.
I must say.
No, it was always drummed into the school kids. Even I remember it.
Wow, that's incredible, because of how I was taught.
Yeah.
Because of a lot of revision as well. Because you helped me out a great deal with my studies. You also know most of the subjects that I studies.
Yeah, I'm not bad at some. Yeah, refreshed my maths. I learned about the Tudors.
Oh man. I suppose whilst living in Turkey you really got to learn about the history over there.
Oh yeah. Fascinating, very complicated. I'm not an expert, please don't ask me anything on history.
Okay. Yeah.
I knew bits about it. But Turkey's made up of all sorts of different people. You've got the Tartars that came down from Russia. You have the Kurds in the east. You've got the blue-eyed on the west coast that come from Greece. A total mixture of different languages, different people. And Ataturk brought them all together. speaking the one language. It's good for communication if everyone speaks the same language.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like India before, where you've got different sections of different Turkish, different language.
Well, locals still speak their own languages.
No way.
Yeah,
What,
even
village men in India, village people.
in Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mustafa Pasha, not far from us, they were involved in the population exchange between Greece and Turkey. And that was in, when was it? 1920s or 30s? But within the house, they would still speak the mother tongue. Because I remember they were building a swimming pool, and the guys were chatting between each other. And I thought, why can I suddenly not understand Turkish? And I asked them, so I listened some more, and they were speaking, I can't remember the name of the language, but they come from Greece.
Yeah. So they were speaking a form of Greek or Greek?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, there was a population exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the people from Mustafa Pasha got shipped out to northern Greece, and the whole village of Muslims got shipped over to Turkey.
Wow. Do you know why they did that? Sorry.
Well, it sounds pretty brutal.
And separating them from families.
Well, from friends, really, because whole families tended to come over.
Oh, right, okay.
But Ataturk was pretty wise, and I guess maybe he saw into the future that religion was going to be something that was going to be fought over. So if there are pockets of Christianity, he put Muslims in with Muslims, and it wasn't just his choice.
Yeah, of course.
Not everyone was pleased with the decision.
Yeah, but like you said, it could have stopped a civil war.
Yeah.
A religious civil war.
Yes.
Oof. So you do know some about history?
I do know some about it, yeah.
I never knew population exchanges like that happened. I didn't think that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Do you know about that happening in other cultures at all?
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Not to worry.
No, I could look up that. But no, I find the Turkish more interesting.
You're very much so into your ancestry also. You've traced back our family and been able to identify members of our family that were lost through searching through documents, names. It was incredible.
Yeah, I got right back down to the 1600s.
Wow, I didn't realise you got that far.
Yeah. My dad's side, the Harris side, I wanted to go further, but I'm stuck with a John Harris, born in London in 1820. And I can't find any more.
Oh, man.
But what a name, yeah.
John Harris.
John Harris, yeah.
Oh, he kept our family name. That's all the way back to 1600 as well.
Yeah. No, sorry, the other family was 1600. All I could get was 1820 with him. I can't find his parents.
Right.
I just know he was born in London. God. And that's it. But it's amazing when you go through the ancestry stuff, you find all sorts of stuff. The census was amazing.
The census?
The census, yes.
What is a census?
Every 10 years, I guess it's the government. They go around house to house, and you fill in a census, and that is who is staying in that house at that night. Names, marital status, age, occupation. So there are records. And it's been done since 1840, I think it was. So, yeah, it'll be done next year again. There's a job for you.
It's still carrying on.
Oh yeah, every 10 years.
Being a census.
Yeah, you go around, knock on the door and get people to fill forms in. Yeah.
That'd be a great way to find more guests. Yeah. Have a quick conversation about them.
Yeah. But it's amazing you can find the original documents, birth certificates, marriage certificates, court proceedings, all sorts of stuff. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. The way of life was so different. Completely different. People used to have a dozen children in the hope that 2 or 3 would survive, especially farmers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's very brutal. And God.
Yeah. And a friend of mine, she's a real expert. She told me that, because because sometimes marriage dates and birth dates of their children just weren't matching. So what sometimes happens, especially with farming people, the family would need to know that the woman marrying into their family need to know that she's not barren, that she can have children. So before a marriage, they get her pregnant, and then they get married. Yeah, that's why the dates didn't always match up. That's nice, isn't it?
Right. So so what would happen is they'd
live together, sort of.
Of course, yeah. But
and if you don't get pregnant after a while, right, off you go, back home. We don't need you. You're barren.
Your
Harsh,
baby making devices or instruments of making babies, not good enough for us.
Yeah, so we don't need you now. Off you go. We'll find a fertile woman.
And with messing up these dates. Sorry, that's the music I play throughout every podcast.
I wonder what that was. Yeah.
Different things on the arms
nice.
stands as springs.
I'll join with the drum in a minute.
Oh, amazing! And with these dates, so what would happen is that they'd get the lady pregnant, they'd get married, the child would be born, let's say, a few months after the marriage.
Could be, yeah.
And it would be a bit like, that's a bit dodgy. So they change the dates then?
No.
Or the dates would stay the same?
Yeah. And this is 1800s talking.
Yeah, of course.
It's just very confusing when you're doing research and you don't realise that this was a thing that happened. And you say, no, that can't be that John Harris because his parents weren't married till 2 years later or something. Or a year later.
Totally.
Yeah.
What other systems did you have for finding people, or was it simply birth dates running through?
Well, if there's, say, 10 children in the family, then you can find them the year after. I mean, the older ones might have moved on, but you've still got, if you've got 3 or 4 children in the same order of age, but 10 years older, you know that is there. Or by professions. And in our family, what was it? John Harris's grandson was a carpet planner. Quite what that was, I'm not sure. Probably going into mansions and measuring up for carpets and getting made, a carpet planner. And it was his father was a lighterman, and he worked on the Thames. There were barges that would take people onto big boats. They were a very respected profession, lightermen.
Lighterman.
Yeah, lighterman, bargeman. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And
your ancestors.
My ancestors.
Yeah.
Yes. And yours.
Yes.
When you were looking through this ancestry stuff, we actually got to meet with, was it a cousin? I can't remember his name now.
Vaughan.
Yes, Vaughan. Yeah.
And Alia. Yes.
And they're not Satanists, are they? But they're very much into the witchcraft.
Oh, witch, yes.
Yeah.
Witchy, yes.
Which is interesting because we're also into a bit of hippie outsider sort of the curious and the wonderful and all of that. And it's fascinating how you never met these people. They're a generation.
Well, I met Vaughan when he was a child.
Okay.
I think they're in Spain. Right, his father was my dad's cousin. And then I just didn't think any more about him. And then Alia contacted me, and her granddad was my granddad's brother. And she had photos, and it was incredible when I first met her. She was living in Wales. And it was the strangest feeling. So she's a second cousin. But when I first saw her eyes, it was so odd because it was my dad's eyes just planted in her head. It was making me tear up now just remembering it. It was incredible. This, I didn't know she existed, and she's my second cousin, and with a very similar lifestyle, which is odd. I'm travelling around in a van, going to festivals, and just like us. And the same with Vaughan.
Yeah.
We got in contact after being in contact with Alia. And he's got his hippie caravan and he's into the witchcraft and
Just like we have our hippie caravan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Something on the Harris side of the family, I believe.
yes, very much so. It's stuck in that sort of area because you're all around the same age, I assume.
Mm. I'm a little older than them.
Okay. And yeah,
But it's so odd that all three of us have turned out similar.
very similar. Yeah, without even having
Yeah.
contact with one another.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice feeling. Yeah. We had a very small family when I was growing up. My dad was an only child. My mum had a sister that lived in America, so there were no aunties, uncles, cousins.
Just you and Dad.
Yeah. Well, Mum.
Oh, Mum. Oh, I thought you said in America.
No.
Oh. Oh. Oh, that must have been my own head voices speaking to me. On that note.
No, my mum's sister went to America.
Oh, right, okay.
I didn't see her when she was younger at all. She spent all her life over there.
Oh, wow. And she still got into the hippie stuff?
No.
No, different person.
Yeah, Mum's sister, Alwyn.
Okay.
She went to work for Time magazine in New York.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that is not your second cousin.
No, that's not. That would have been auntie. But I had no cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah. No uncles and one auntie that I never saw. So it's a tiny family. So maybe that's why it meant so much meeting Vaughan and Alia.
True.
Yeah. Alia's in Egypt right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
She went over there. Was it during the first lockdown? We were in India. I think that's when she went over and she thought, right, I'm going to do this. And it's incredible there now because it's not busy with tourists. Beautiful photos she's putting up. You can still travel.
Yeah, of course, yeah, especially during this corona lockdowny time.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. We're past an hour.
So really?
We can stop if you'd like.
I felt like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Really? Oh, wow.
Well,
okay.
15 maybe.
Yeah, we can play some music if you'd like to finish off this episode. I think, is it New Year's Eve?
It is.
It is. Oh, this is a New Year's Eve episode.
Woo! Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for the worst year that I've endured in my life. Actually, it's been my favourite year. I'm going to get a guitar so I can play. This is crazy.
Which drum have you got? It sounds funny.
Tea.
I'll get my tea later.
Oh,
we're not going to be in rhythm.
Probably not. Not the best musical talent. Is it possible to match that to a beat, do you think?
I think we're better playing separately, actually.
Well, if we play separately, and then it might somehow sync up.
Okay, right. Well, you start and I'll try and fit in on rhythm.
Something's out of tune on this guitar.
Sounds like my drum is out of tune too.
What a way to end
We attempted something.
the Mum and Son podcast. Well, thank you for listening to A Spoken Mess, and thank you for sitting with me on A Spoken Mess.
Right, I'm off. I need a wee.
Bye.